I am going to survive the next 100 days on this island with only 3 rules. Rule number 1, no leaving the island, unless it's for the Ender Dragon fight. Rule number 2, no totems of undying, meaning if I die, I lose this world forever. And rule number 3, it has to be done in hardcore mode. To step things up a notch, we will be playing with a few different mods that should make things more fun or even more difficult. So join me as we take on the challenges of hardcore Minecraft, but while being stuck on an island. Let's get this video to 5,000 likes for the next 100 days on this world. And here we are on day 1. Well, it's actually day 0, but I don't know why Minecraft starts on day 0 rather than day 1. Anyways, I'm gonna collect up a little bit of wood. Using these 4 logs, I can craft some planks, some sticks, and a crafting table to get myself a wooden pickaxe, so then I can mine down to collect up a couple pieces of stone to craft myself a full set of stone tools. Although I did dig directly into a cave that had a single piece of iron and also a single piece of coal, which is just lovely and super helpful, but the cave looked like it went a little further, so I followed it until it came to a dead end shortly after. I decided it would probably be a good idea to take a look around our island to see if we have any animals or sheep so I can make a bed, and it turns out we don't have any. We do have tons of different fruits along with different variants of trees, but yeah, no animals. Oh, this is gonna be great. We have an avocado tree, and the avocados aren't very cool, but they do use spruce logs for these trees, which means we're gonna have a way to get plenty of spruce for all of our builds. What is this, a black bean crop and then radish? Okay. Anyways, with night quickly coming around, I decided to spend a few minutes harvesting some trees so I can have plenty of wood for the night. Once I had more than enough wood, I started to dig out a hole in the side of the mountain, which is gonna be our little base for now, and I threw down my crafting table and made a double chest so I can put all of my seeds away since they're taking up a bunch of space in my inventory. And then I decided to harvest one last tree before the mobs started to spawn. Since it's now nighttime and mobs are definitely spawning, I'm just gonna start digging a staircase down and hopefully we run into a cave or some more iron or something. Luckily, I did eventually run into a cave, but there was a creeper inside of it. Although I quickly remembered I got a piece of iron earlier, so I made my way back up to the furnace to smelt that piece of iron up, so then I can craft a shield and make my way back down into that cave to take on the creeper. Once the creeper was dealt with, there was a bunch of resources in the walls that I could start collecting. I do not like the look of that. Oh, and there's a creeper coming. I'm gonna just let you explode. Oh my goodness, another creeper? Once I had all of the mobs cleared out, I could then go ahead and start to gather all the resources in the walls. And luckily there was loads upon loads of iron, so this should be good for the first couple days in this world. And then I eventually made myself into an even bigger portion of the cave and saw some diamonds. I'm gonna avoid collecting them for now because there was so many mobs inside of this cave and I don't have an iron pickaxe yet. At this point, I realized it was now day 2, so I started to make my way back up to the surface. The first thing that I wanted to do on this new morning was craft myself a bucket along with a stone hose, so I can set up a small field to plant all of our seeds down. Since there isn't any animals on this island, I feel like food is going to be a major issue, so I also decided to harvest some large grass to hopefully collect up some seeds. Once I had 3 seeds collected, I went ahead and also planted those down too. Now, I know morally it would be wrong, but if these guys gave food, I would definitely eat some sea turtle. But I guess the next best thing will probably be some fish. Are these guys even edible? They're so tiny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I think they are edible. Oh, no, do not. Is that a sheep? Is that a sheep? Oh my goodness, I gotta go get some iron real quick so I can make some shears and then hopefully get some wool so we can make a bed. He's definitely all alone, so I'm just gonna have to wait for him to eat some grass and then I can harvest him again. I'm in the way, bud. I'm in the way. Well, it's starting to get really dark, and I'm sure some mobs are gonna start spawning soon. So please be here in the morning because I'm already 2/3 of the way there, and I'd love to get another piece of wool. Are you sure you don't want to do it again? Okay, yep, definitely going back inside now. Definitely going back inside. Oh, that's cool. A glowfish. Now that it was nighttime again and I had no bed, I decided to craft myself an iron sword and an iron pickaxe, along with a few pieces of iron armor because I'm gonna make my way back down into the caves, and I'd really prefer not to die. I went ahead and made my way into the bigger cave because I want to harvest those diamonds that we saw earlier, and I also saw another pack. I was able to collect up 2 diamonds in total. Thank God I dug around because the second one was not visible to the eye. I then went ahead and decided to jump down into a deeper cave and ran into a mine shaft where I collected up a little bit of string so I can craft 1 more piece of wool for a bed. I then spent a little while collecting up all the gold and iron that I could until an enderman ran in front of me. What the f? What was that? This guy just walked right in front of me and I almost hit him. What was that? I eventually found some more diamonds and continued to collect up more iron and more gold until I found even more diamonds. Then I almost got blown up by a creeper, along with almost getting killed by a few skeletons and whatnot. I did run completely out of food, so I just ate a couple pieces of rotten flesh to get me over and continued to mine until I got really bad. I had to hide myself behind a wall so I didn't get killed by skeletons, and then I decided just to make a run for it and get back up to the surface as quick as possible. Once I was back up at the surface, it was now more than halfway through day 3, so I quickly ran over to my field and harvested any crops that had grown in and started to eat them, hoping to get a few hearts back. I also remembered I could use the wheat to craft bread and then throw the bread in a furnace to get some toast. Oh, that's amazing. It added, I think, a thing and a half to the bread. Okay, now we should be able to get a decent amount of hearts back. And big reveal,
I'm a pickle!
I can now craft myself a bed, which we'll just kind of put it right there. Yeah, that works. Moving on, I threw some logs and planks in the furnace to get some charcoal, so then I can smelt up my 52 iron. At this point, day 3 was pretty much over, so I went ahead and slept through the night, and then used a few pieces of iron to craft myself an iron axe so I can chop down some trees so I can clear out an area for our starter house. I also ran around the island collecting up any more fruits or berries on the ground so we have more things to plant, along with harvesting some avocados from the avocado tree so then I can craft some avocado saplings. I planted these down because I am going to want to use some spruce in my starter house, so I want to get collecting on this immediately. While I waited for the avocado trees to grow up, I went ahead and spent a little while clearing out some trees down by the shoreline right here because I want to give myself ample space to expand our field out a little bit more. As I've already mentioned, I think food is going to be kind of a major struggle, at least in these first couple days, so I want to get as many crops as I can planted down. At this point, day 4 was pretty much over, so I went ahead and went to bed and realized I'm probably going to kill myself with this bed in its location. So I broke it and moved it down to the ground so I don't suffocate. By now, a few of the avocado trees had grown in, so I started to chop them all down. I swear, it rains so damn much in this world. We're now on day 5 and it's rained like 3 of the days. Oh no, that's a thunderstorm. Oh my goodness. Get me inside before I get struck by lightning. Oh no. Oh no. Oh my goodness, that was such a close call. Why does this keep happening? Can I sleep or is there mobs nearby? Okay, we're good. Now that it was the morning and most of the mobs burned up, I went ahead and started to harvest the rest of these avocado trees, along with planting even more saplings back down so I can get even more spruce wood. Using 3 pieces of iron and a couple of sticks, I can craft myself an iron hammer, which will dig out a 3x3x1 block area. While I wait for a couple more avocado trees to grow up, I went ahead and harvested a decent amount of cobblestone and then smelted that cobblestone into stone, which I'm going to be using on the starter house. At this point, day 6 was pretty much over, so I went ahead and slept through the night, taking us on to day 7, where I spent a little while harvesting up more avocado trees. Although I did have a very close call with a creeper and somehow just survived. At this point, I felt like I had more than enough spruce wood, so I started to clean up the area where the starter house is going to go, along with collecting up about a stack of sand so I can smelt it into glass to make some cool windows. So if I smelt this bread into toast, and then using the toast and avocados, I think I can make avocado toast, which, oh, that's awesome. This will now give me 5 things of hunger. Oh, and it's like a full thing of saturation too. That is amazing. At this point, I went ahead and did a pretty large crafting spree to make sure I have all the items together that I'm gonna need for this starter house. Speaking of the starter house, it's not really gonna be a house. I'm kind of looking to do more of a tower because I think it'll be neat to have a vantage point that looks over the entire island. Anyways, once I had all the blocks together, I got started on the foundation, which I built out of cobblestone and stone. And besides just having farming mods installed, I also have some detail mods for building, because besides building the ultimate farming island, I want this thing to be super detailed. So I made sure to craft as many of those special modded items as I can to help detail this tower. As I was building, I kept running out of oak logs because I kept using more and more of them, so it just meant I had to harvest some oak trees as I was building this tower. It ended up taking me about 4.5 days, landing us on day 12 by the time this thing was finished. And finally, after 4.5 days of building, the tower is complete. I've been working on the interior a little bit. It's not completed on the first floor, but on the second floor, we have ourselves a nice kitchen with 4 furnaces and some storage. And then as we make our way up to the 3rd floor, which is the good viewing point, we have a bunch of chests and a bunch of cupboards, our bed, and a little desk thing that I built here using these spruce corner trims. I think the tower turned out pretty nice. I really love those shutters right there, which I think that's handcrafted, or is that Magaw's? That would be Magaw's windows. Wait a second. Did I just see that? Is there been cows here this whole time? Please be more than 1 cow. Please. It looks like, oh, no, we got a second one. Okay, I gotta go get some wheat. How did I not notice that there was cows? I guess I had never really explored that back area of the island. All right, come on, just follow me. Oh my goodness, we have a third one too. All right, into your new home. I know it's really small. I'm just gonna, oh, how do I get out of here? Stay inside. No. Oh, close that, and then I'll just breed 2 of you up. The fact that we did end up having cows on the island is pretty amazing, because I was concerned we weren't gonna be able to build an enchantment table. So with that being said, I wanna keep these guys as safe as possible by building them some animal pens. To start things off, I planted down some more avocado saplings and wasted some bone meal to get these things to grow quicker, which made no sense at all to waste those bones. And then I went ahead and chopped down a pretty large portion of the forest on the island to collect up a decent amount of oak logs. From there, I made my way down into the caves to collect up some deep slate for the roof, and had 2 close calls with some skeletons, and then a very close call with a zombie. Oh, no. Stop. I need my shield. Oh, sorry. Oh, once I had more than enough deep slate, I made my way back up to the surface so I can start building. I decided to build these animal pens diagonal, which normally I would never do because I think it's extremely difficult to build diagonal buildings. But in this case, since they're just animal pens and there really isn't going to be any walls, I don't think it should be too hard at all. I also think it'll be a very nice detail on the island since there probably won't be very many diagonal buildings in the end. All right, come on everyone. Let's go into your new home. Hopefully they can fit through this single gate right here. Oh no, I really don't want to explode my brand new build. Okay, that was such a close call. Okay, everyone come back. Let's go. Come on, it can't be that hard for you guys to get in here. All right, that works. Close that. And then I think I can actually just put that in there and they should start breeding on their own. Yep, wheat is disappearing. Yeah, this is the feeding trough. It should make my life way easier. Anyways, I'm not quite done with the animal pens. I still want to add some leaves right there. I think will look nice. Then I'll do some like that. And then I'll do some more on the backside. Then I thought it might also look nice to just throw like a water source right there so the cows can drink out of it. Oh my goodness. It's a rainbow. I didn't know shaders added rainbows. Anyways, moving on with our next project, I think this little sad field here needs some upgrading. It also definitely needs a little bit of harvesting. We have this big piece of land up here that is pretty much flat. I mean, there's some areas that need to be flattened out, but I haven't really known what to do about all the beehives that are up here because it feels wrong just to like, break them, but I think that's gonna be the only thing I can do. I'm gonna have some really angry bees on my hands if I do break them. Anyways, one of the things I want to do with this field is I also want to build a retaining wall that kind of holds this land back from falling onto the beach. So using a little bit of stone and stone brick, I got a template laid out that I think is somewhat organic and will look nice once it's built up 4 blocks, and it should work pretty well as a retaining wall. I just don't have nearly enough blocks to build this entire thing, which means it's time to use my hammer to gather up a couple stacks of cobblestone so then I can smelt it into stone and then craft that into stone brick. While I wait for that cobblestone to smelt up, I want to go ahead and get started on this project, first off by doing a decent amount of terraforming. There is some high and low spots in the land and I want to fill in those low spots and take down those high spots. I sort of had a plan going into this, but that plan kind of fell apart and I ended up removing a ton of dirt. After a few minutes, a good amount of the stone had smelted up, so then I also built up the retaining wall as I continued to terraform. This is going to be a farming island at the end of the day, so I want to make sure there is plenty of fields on this island and make sure they are big enough. Man, do I wish I had some emeralds because this wandering trader just appeared and he's trading melon seeds and some dripstone. The dripstone I could use to make an automatic lava farm, and the melon seeds, well, I mean, they're melon seeds. Anyways, I went ahead and got back to work. So far, I like the way this is looking, but I don't like how we go up 2 blocks so quickly here. So I think what I'm going to try and do is kind of split this down the middle, so at least the field will slowly go up in altitude. It does feel completely wrong that in a 100-day challenge, I'm like spending so much time doing terraforming, but trust me, it's gonna work out. Or at least I think so. So getting straight back to it, I continue to chop down a bunch more trees and doing a ton more terraforming because it is very important this field is super large considering there's over 100 different crops added in this mod pack. Now that we have some more land cleared out, I want to go ahead and start to add in a simple pathway leading along the backside of this retaining wall. Oh, my shovel broke. Luckily, I have another one. Besides adding in a pathway just on the lower portion of the retaining wall, I also went ahead and started to build another smaller retaining wall above this, where there's going to be another pathway going along the backside of this field. This area is really starting to come together, but to finish things off, I want to use some leaves and some spruce fence posts along the front here to kind of give us a little more separation between the pathway and what will soon be the crops. But first, I need to collect up a decent amount of leaves because I don't have any. And where do I want to collect these from? Let's say right here. This is a good tree. And one final touch to add to the border of this field is going to be using a composter to get some bone meal, so then I can bone meal the ground to get some tall grass and some extra flowers. Definitely a detail that I think is necessary when it comes to building these fields because it just makes them look so much better. Before I go ahead and add any of the crops or water sources in, I want to go ahead and build a small structure right here, which could be storage for all of our crops. I want to keep this building pretty small because it is going to be in the middle of the field and I don't want it to take up a bunch of space, so I opted just to go for a 5x6 base, which should be more than enough room to throw some chests in there to hold all of our crops. I stuck with the same block palette I've been using so far with some oak logs, some oak planks, and then a spruce trim on the roof filled in with some deep slate. Now that the little farmhouse is complete, it's time for the excruciating pain of placing in all of the water sources using oak leaves. The reason for using waterlogged leaves is so when I'm harvesting the fields, I'm not constantly falling into the water sources or trampling any crops. It's one of those small details in your fields that you can do that makes your life way easier. Now that all the water sources are placed in, I now need to go ahead and till all of this into farmland. This may seem like a waste, but I'm gonna craft myself a diamond hoe, even though it feels completely wrong to do. And it's raining again. Oh my goodness, it rains so much in this world. I swear to God, if this is a thunderstorm, I'm gonna lose it. Let's go test it out and see, because when it shaders, it's kind of hard to tell. No, it seems to just be a rainstorm, but I'm gonna bring my bed with me in case that quickly changes. If you're enjoying my content and you want to help me out a little bit more since I'm trying to make YouTube a full-time job, I now have my YouTube members, which is at the low price of $4.99 each month. This will give you early access to videos, updates on videos that I'm gonna start recording, and maybe some videos that I made and just felt like didn't releasing. So, like I said, if you want to show me just a little bit of extra love, this is the way to do so. Once I had most of the crops placed in, the field still did not feel big enough, so I went ahead and chopped some more trees and put in a pathway, further extending the field, making it a big portion of this front part of the island. I didn't even have close to enough seeds to place in this entire field, but honestly, it's probably a good idea I take a break from working on this project, considering I've just spent the last 12 days building it, where instead I should probably be working on something like getting myself full diamond tools along with a full set of diamond armor. But before I go ahead and just start building some random strip mine, I actually want to build some sort of building or entrance to the strip mines, which I think right here will be the perfect location. But first, I need to make my way down into the cave so I can collect up a couple stacks of cobblestone, which I will later smelt into normal stone, and then heading down a little bit deeper to collect up a couple stacks of deep slate, which I'm gonna use for the roof of this mine building. I did end up doing a little bit of exploring around the caves I hadn't lit up before, and I was able to find 2 diamonds, which was a nice little surprise. Now that I have most of the blocks together that I'm gonna need to build this mine entrance, I just need to go ahead and get rid of some of these trees, along with flattening this land out just a touch. Oh, we have another animal on the island. We have a rabbit that's down to half a heart. Okay, buddy, don't die there. And then I think there's another one over here somewhere. Yeah, we got another one right here. So hopefully those guys can stay alive for a little while until I can build them a little home. Once I had the land all cleared out and flattened up, I decided to go ahead and just start with the lower half of this build, which is going to be the mine entrance. I'm pretty happy with how the entrance to the mine is looking. We're still going to put a building up on the top, but I think we're off to a pretty good start here. I was trying to stay away from actually using the stone like this, but I think it looks pretty good. Moving on to the upper portion of this build, I want to build a small structure with 2 stone towers behind it. These towers aren't going to be for sightseeing. They're more so going to replicate big furnaces, and I'm going to do that by throwing some campfires on the top of them so they plume smoke out of them. As usual, I stuck with the block palette we've been using so far on this island by using some oak planks, oak logs, some spruce stairs as the trim for the roof, and then bringing in some deep slate for the main portion. I'm not exactly sure what I'm gonna put in here yet. I'll probably just put a whole bunch of storage for the mine, and I have another mod added in that might be a little interesting to put inside of here, but it could be really cool. I also crafted a tool which is a part of another ease of life mod, which is just the trowel. The way this works is any blocks I have in my hotbar to the right side of it, it's gonna kind of go between it, which will help with texturing walls. Do you have any good trades, kind sir? No, you don't. Can I have your leads? No, I can't have your leads? Okay. You guys saw and heard absolutely nothing. Anyways, the mine building is pretty much finished up. I still have some detailing to do around the outside, and there is still currently no interior, but pretty much all of my tools are broken and I am all out of iron. So instead of finishing up this building, I'm gonna go ahead and craft myself one of these diamond hammers and begin digging a staircase down to the bottom of the world. Now, these hammers may seem a little bit cheaty since they do dig out a 3x3x1 block area, but in my opinion, when it comes to these modded 100-day challenges, time is something you don't have a lot of, and having something that digs out an area like this does opens up a lot more opportunities with the extra time I'm gonna have in the world. I could do this all with a normal diamond pickaxe, but I'm gonna end up wasting 10 days trying to get all the diamonds together to make a full suit of diamond armor, along with a full set of diamond tools, where this might cut that down to 5 days, which means we get to do a lot more building and I get to make these videos a lot more entertaining for you guys. Anyways, I'm gonna call it a break when it comes to mining because we're now up to 19 diamonds in total and the hammer is broken. So making my way back up to the surface, I crafted myself a brand new diamond axe, shovel, and sword, along with crafting a diamond helmet, some boots, and some pants. I'm gonna wait on the chest plate so at least I have some diamonds to repair the hammer. This is getting absurd how many cows are shoved into this. Oh, I forgot that you need sugarcane to make an enchanting setup. Do we even have any sugarcane on this island? I haven't seen any. We have some right over there, but technically I'm not allowed to go grab that because I have to stay on this island. Oh, perfect. We do have a little bit of sugarcane right here. It's only 3 pieces, but at least that's a start. For now, I'm gonna just plant it down on the shoreline right over here. Yeah, what are you guys doing? Why are you all lined up? I'm gonna push you in the water, push you in the water. Now that we have some sort of sugarcane farm set up, I want to go ahead and get back to working on the mine building. For starters, on the outside, I want to add in a little area, which is where we're going to do our smelting. I kept it pretty simple on the outside by just using cobblestone, tuff, and a little bit of andesite texturing the ground, and then I threw some spruce fence posts around the outside. One mod I have added in is alloy forgery, which simply just adds a larger furnace to the game. From there, I needed to smelt some cobblestone into stone and then into smooth stone, so I could craft myself a blast furnace to then further craft the furnace controller. Rather than using coal, this requires lava to smelt, so I need to go all the way down to the strip mines and collect up a little bit of lava that I ran into earlier. Using one of these deep slate brick forge controllers, I can set up a little 3x3 block area like this and then place the controller right there. And then I can build up 2 blocks like this with one on top of that. And then I should be able to fill this all with lava. Yeah, we can. And then if I throw my iron in there, it should start to smelt up. Now, the way this works is it's not going to double every single raw iron, but for every 2 that I smelt, I'm going to get 1 extra. And can I like do something like this? Does it smelt them all up way faster? No, it does not. It only does 1 at a time. It also, I think, goes through the lava quite quickly, actually. I went ahead and crafted 3 hoppers along with a couple barrels because I'm pretty sure we can actually automate most of this process. I don't really love the way that looks, but I don't think there's any way around putting the chest or barrels right on the sides here. Anyways, let's test this out by throwing all of our stuff in there, and it should make its way. Nope, that's not gonna work. Other side that it goes into? Yeah, it goes into that side. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, and interesting, it only does 2 at a time. I wonder if that's to combat like multiple ores trying to cook at once. I also went ahead and crafted 6 more buckets that we can fill with lava so we can get a stockpile of fuel for the forgery. I just need to go all the way back down to the mines again. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself. And since I had already made my way down to the mines, I decided to spend a little bit of time doing strip mining to get those final diamonds to craft a diamond chest plate, along with getting a few more so I can craft myself an enchantment table and having some leftovers. As much as I love our tower starter house, I'm starting to get over the fact that I need to go all the way up to the top floor to grab any items. So instead, up on top of this plateau next to the sheep farm, we have a nice area that if I clear out all the trees, there should be more than enough room to build a medium-sized building. I went ahead and crafted a whole bunch of avocado saplings so I can plant these down to gather up a couple stacks of spruce logs. I did the same thing for oak logs, just putting them all in a line. I definitely need to figure out some area to put a tree farm because once there's a building here, I'm not going to have any space to grow saplings. Oh yeah, and also we're on day 50. We're officially halfway through this challenge. And honestly, I think we're making a pretty good pace. I'm happy with how it's looking so far. Although I still have a lot more I want to do before day 100. While I wait for all of the saplings to grow into trees, I'm going to go ahead and collect up a couple stacks of sand that I can smelt into glass. I want this starter house to have more than enough windows so we can have plenty of natural light going on to the interior, along with using some shears to collect up a couple stacks of oak leaves, which I can use to detail around the base of the house and also around some pathways. pathways. At this point, most of the oak saplings along with avocado saplings had grown into trees. Once they were chopped, I felt like I still didn't have enough wood to build this starter house, so I went ahead and crafted some more avocado saplings and placed those in along with some more oak saplings. While I waited for those to all grow up, I went ahead and harvested all the wheat in our field, along with expanding out the tomato and kale. Not only do I want to have enough blocks to build this house, but I also want to have a lot left over so we can quickly get into building other structures. And just like before, the trees had all grown up, so I got to chopping them all down. It is mayhem in here. I just had him walk right in front of me, and then I have a bee coming right here, which if I hit him, he's gonna poison me. And same with his friend will probably attack me. I want this house to be pretty big, but I don't want it to be so big that it kind of dwarfs everything on the island. I'm taking into account that we have a tower right here, because if the house is taller than the tower, then, I mean, is it really a tower at that point? I have a couple blocks in my inventory that I'm gonna use to get at least somewhat of a foundation set up, so I know how big I'm gonna build this. I'm thinking right here is a good center point for the house, because we have plenty of blocks to this side and more than enough space from there. Actually, you know what? Maybe I should come over, let's say there, and that is a good center point for the house. Oh my goodness, what are you doing over here? Get out of here. I swear, sometimes I don't know where these mobs are coming from. I slept before it was time for mobs to spawn. This house is going to be a major center point on this island, so I really want it to stand out. I'm going to be sticking with a similar block palette we've been using so far, so the way I'm going to accomplish it sticking out is by bringing in a lot of stone and andesite to build a large foundation. Where in the hell are these creepers coming from? Are they spawning in this cave down here? Oh, yep, they must be spawning down here, considering there's one. The problem with these worlds that are like a survival island is that there's nowhere for the mobs to spawn besides on the island or underground. Hence why the caves are just absolutely full to the brim with all the different kinds of aggressive mobs. Now that that cave is all lit up and we shouldn't be bothered by any more creepers, I'm getting straight back into building the first floor of this house. I'm only going to build the first floor 4 blocks tall, because when it comes to building the second floor, they should be about the same height, or else it's going to look unproportional. And if I go any taller for the first floor, I think overall the building will end up looking way too big. I use the same blocks I've been using so far when it comes to the modded stuff, such as the spruce shutters along with the Magaz window frames. So far, I think the house is looking pretty good. I'm trying to keep it like big, but also I want it to look small. And one of the ways I'm trying to do that is by adding this porch out in front of it, which is going to make it feel bigger on the bottom floor. But in reality, the structure is actually much smaller than it would be if it went all the way out to the edges of the foundation. There's also going to be like a balcony that comes out over the top of these spruce fences, which I'm definitely going to have to play with because that might make the building feel way too big. I guess the only way to find out is to actually build it. So that's exactly what I did. I got straight into building the wraparound balcony along with building the second floor. The second floor is pretty much just going to be a mirror image of the first floor, but I'm just going to change the placement of the windows, along with not doing the leaves in front of the windows because that's going to make the balcony feel way too cramped. Well, I made a mistake, a pretty big one. This was all supposed to be 1 block further out, and yeah, now I gotta tear the whole thing down and rebuild it in the correct position. And just like that, the second floor was fixed, which meant I can now get started on the roof. I want to keep the same style roof for the entire island, so of course I brought in some deep slate bricks. Later, I could also bring in some deep slate tiles if the roof is feeling too much just like a big black blob of roof. But honestly, I think it might be fine because the deep slate bricks actually have a pretty decent amount of detail in each one. What is this guy doing? There's a window in the way, buddy. He's like trying to get through. Anyways, the house is finally complete after way too many days. I don't know what too many days is, but that just felt like it. It does look really good, and I'm happy with the size that it ended up being. I think we're gonna have more than enough room on the inside, especially on the downstairs. And then on the upstairs, there isn't that much space because I kind of have these loft areas right here, but I think that's fine because, I mean, it is already day 65. I don't know if we'd be able to fill up this house completely by the end of the 100 days. I want to get started with the interior, but before I can do that, I need to go collect up a little bit of iron because a lot of the crafting for blockhead recipes involve iron. Rather than going strip mining for this, I decided to head into that super big cave because I remember seeing an iron vein inside of it. I also decided to explore around the mine shaft a little bit, hoping to find some chests that might have carrots or potatoes. Although, lucky enough, I ended up running into a zombie spawner that had 2 chests with some decent items inside of it, and I still heard some more zombies, so I started to mine up, and there was another spawner. Well, I guess my XP problem is now solved considering we have a double spawner, but they are both zombie zombie spawners, which isn't great. So without wasting a beat, I got straight to work on setting up this XP farm, and it was pretty easy to do since one spawner was pretty much on top of the other. It was nice too because as I was doing some excavating of the mob spawners, I was able to find some diamonds. Once the double spawner was complete, I decided to spend the next couple days down here getting as many levels as I could because I was pretty close to being able to build an enchantment table, and I rather just get all my levels at once than having to make multiple trips down here and back up. Oh my goodness, we got ourselves a carrot. I forgot that you could even get carrots and potatoes from these guys. Oh yeah, we got a potato. Yeah, I was gonna say I saw it drop and then one of the zombies picked it up. Oh my goodness, we got both of the other vanilla crops. On day 70, I called it quits and I was now up to level 45, so I should be able to get at least 5 enchantments out of that. Feeling happy with that, I made my way back up to the surface and started to massacre all of our cows so I can get all the leather to craft the books, along with collecting up all the sugarcane and then crafting all 17 bookshelves. I only needed 15, but might as well have 2 extra. And of course, I forgot you need obsidian to craft an enchantment table, which means I need to go all the way back down into the mines. I had no idea if that was gonna work, but it did, and that was amazing. Oh, diamonds. Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. How many are we gonna get? We got 1. Is there at least a second one maybe? Nope, I think it was just 1. Oh. Now that I have some obsidian, I can finally craft the enchantment table and then go into our brand new house to build an entire enchantment setup. And finally, by day 71, I can actually start to enchant my tools along with my armor. First up, what is the pickaxe showing? Okay, we got Unbreaking 3. I'd really love some fortune, so I'm gonna wait on that one. I spent a little while going through all the tools along with all pieces of armor to get good enchantments on everything. I eventually was able to get Fortune 3 on my pickaxe, which is super nice because now I'm gonna get way more ores when I go mining. Now that I have all my tools enchanted, I spent a couple more diamonds in an anvil to fix them all up. And just like that, it is now day 73, which leaves me with 27 days to do as much building on this island as I can. For starters, I want to build a tree farm because I'm quickly running out of space to plant trees down, and I think I should have an area dedicated just to that. Luckily, right over here on the left side of the island, we have a pretty big area that I think we can put a pathway with the tree farm, along with maybe a few small village houses back here. For starters, I needed to clear out all the trees that are currently here because I'm planning on doing a little bit more of a uniform setup. The ground also wasn't super level, so I went through with my brand new efficiency shovel and cleared out as much land as I can. That also meant that I had to fill in any holes or any low spots in the area. Once I was happy with the look, I then went through and added a winding pathway leading all the way to the very end. So far, I think this is a pretty good start. I like the way the pathway kind of meanders its way through. And then we have this little area right here that I think might be perfect to do like a little pond or something. I don't know. I think it could look cool. Nothing crazy, but like I said, just a little pond. And then using some slabs, I can do something a little bit like that and place the saplings inside of it. And all that's going to do is signify to me which trees are the ones to actually farm. So I'm not chopping down ones that are strictly for decoratory reasons. No. I give up. Anyways, I went ahead and added in all those tough slabs around the area, giving me about 15 different spots to plant some trees. If this isn't enough, I could always come through and add a few more in later. I need to wait a little bit for all of these avocado trees to grow up because I do need some spruce, send some all out. So while I wait, I want to build a simple little pier right out here and then maybe like a fishing hut on this ledge right here. I went ahead and kept this pier and fishing hut pretty simple by using lots of oak slabs and upside down oak stairs. And then to give the pier a little bit more of support, I took some oak fences and ran them from the pier all the way down to the bottom of the ocean floor. I would have liked to use some other blocks, but honestly, I'm pretty limited on what I have at the moment, and I don't feel like I can waste time chopping down trees or just waiting for things to grow. For how stupidly simple this fisherman's hut and pier is, I really like the way that it turned out. I mean, it's just like super simple, but it looks really nice. Anyways, a lot of the trees have now grown up, so I'm gonna chop all these down and replant the saplings back in because there is still a lot more building I want to get done. I've noticed that I keep running up the hillside right here rather than taking the pathway to the house and then wrapping around. And usually when I'm doing something like that, it means I should probably just put a pathway in right here. So that is exactly what I'm going to do. The only thing is that this area is a little steep, so I'm trying to figure out the best way to do this, which will probably be using a lot of stairs rather than the slabs. As I was building the pathway, I couldn't help but think about how we have this big open piece of land next to it, and I think this will be a perfect location for another wheat field. I would have really loved to plant another type of crop, but as I've been saying, time is starting to run low, and wheat seeds happen to be what I have the most of. It's honestly kind of amazing how long it takes to plant a simple field like this. Well, I guess it's not the simplest thing in the world because it is stepping down, but still, that almost took me 2 full days to build this entire thing. And I think I'm gonna do the same thing right over here because we have this open piece of land, but I really don't know what to do with it. And when in doubt, just build a field because it takes up a bunch of space. But rather than using some type of crop, instead I'm gonna be using lilacs, which is the 2-high flower. I've seen people do this before and I think it looks really nice and it can add a really great pop of color to any build. Although I only had a few of them on the island, which meant I need to get some bone meal so I can get a bunch more of these. I made my way back down to the double zombie spawner to get a little bit of rotten flesh so I can throw that in a composter to get some bone meal. I threw together a little contraption using 2 hoppers, 2 chests, and the composter to automate it, and when I threw all the rotten flesh inside of it, I realized rotten flesh does not work in a composter. Luckily, I have a bunch of leftover wheat from the last time I harvested the field, and I don't really need it, so I threw that in there for now. While I waited for the bone meal to be made, I went ahead and got to work on this next field by placing the fence post around the outside along with the leaves on top of it and a few lanterns. By the time I was complete, we had more than enough bone meal, so I bone mealed about a stack of lilacs. And from there, all I had left to do was placing all 64 lilacs down in a diagonal pattern. Adding both of those fields to the front of the house was definitely a big upgrade. I'm also a really big fan of this lilac field. It just adds so much color to this area that I felt was needed. Along with this little pathway that leads us up to this side of the house, I think that's also a nice addition, but we're currently on day 80, which leaves me with just 20 days to build. Right here, we have a nice plot of land that I think a semi-diagonal building would fit perfectly in, but I can't build it just yet because I'm gonna need a whole lot more blocks. Luckily, most of our trees back at the tree farm had grown in, so I just needed to chop all of these down and replant the saplings back in. There was also this super large tree at the very end that I was pretty hesitant about chopping because I liked the way it looked, but I knew it would give me a whole bunch of wood, and honestly, I'm gonna build a house here in the future, so I went ahead and cut the thing down. As I mentioned, I want this building to be diagonal, but I don't want it to be like super diagonal, so I'm kind of thinking something like that might work. Maybe I'll bring this back, do something like that, and I'll go in 2-block increments. I like that, and then what do I want to go? 5 blocks across here, let's say? Yeah, that's probably a good number. It's gonna be a little funky setting up the windows just because, I mean, there isn't going to be a block like on the side right there, but I think I have a solution. If I do something like this, because we're not going to use this interior very much, I do something like this, and I do the same thing on this side, just kind of bringing it up 1 extra block, then I can put some blocks in front of these. Then how will that look if I do something a little bit like this? Oh, that's a bummer. I don't want to waste glass. Oh my goodness, I did it again. Honestly, I think that looks pretty nice, and then I can take some of these shutters and do something a little bit like that. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with how this is looking. I'm gonna go ahead and do it on the other side. By the time I was finished with the semi-diagonal house, I wanted to get straight into another building, which is going to be the one down by the tree farm. I want this building to sort of resemble the main house on the island, which is the super big one we built earlier, and I'm going to do this by using some cobblestone and tuff to build a low foundation. I was debating on making this 2 stories tall similar to the other house, but I felt like it might be too tall for how small of a base it has. So instead, I stuck with using a high-pitched roof. Even though this house isn't very big, it might be one of my favorite ones so far on this island. I almost think it would have been like the perfect starter house because there's plenty of room on the inside for some chests, maybe a little bed, and a couple furnaces, but obviously this wasn't our starter house. This is like the end of the world house. Although continuing on with this big push to build as many things on this island as I can, I want to build a few small houses down here along with some docks. And when I say I want to build small houses, these things are going to be tiny. But first, as usual, I need to go ahead and chop down all of the trees in the tree farm so I have enough blocks to build all of this. The way I'm going to accomplish building these houses so small is by using trapdoors for the walls rather than full blocks. This actually works out quite well because I can place them on the inside of a block, and then I can also use a normal door, which will only give the house a 2x2 footprint. Yeah, I think that's going to be a perfect little fishing hut. We can fit maybe a bed right here and then a chest right there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and build like 4 or 5 more of these. Once I had all the mini houses complete, I also went ahead and brought in some oak slabs to build a few different docks and piers. So far, I'm extremely happy with how this fishing village and docks has turned out, but I feel like it's still missing a bunch of small details. Something I wanted to use was some dead bushes, but vanilla Minecraft doesn't have any recipes. Although Croptopia, which is the mod that adds all of these tomatoes and all the other crops, also happens to add in a recipe to craft dead bushes. So using some glass, I can craft a whole bunch of bottles. I probably didn't need 48, but that's okay. And then if I fill all of these up, I can bring them over to our forge and throw them all in here. Let me get rid of that piece of iron and I'll throw all of these in here. Okay, that doesn't seem to be working because it said I throw the water bottle in the ally forge ring. Oh, okay. Turns out I didn't need all of these bottles. I instead can just fill up 2 buckets, and then using a crafting table, I can create these water bottles, which are stackable. That makes sense. That's way easier to throw in the forge controller than normal water bottles. So take 2 on this. If I throw the water bottles in here, they should start to smelt up and they'll give us some salt. And then if I take a sapling and the salt, I can mix them together like that and we get a dead bush, which I kind of just want to use to decorate on the sand because the sand is super bright and I just feel like it needs something that's maybe a little brown. I am going to go ahead and craft this recipe a few more times because I have a feeling I'm going to need a lot of salt. And now I can just go through with all of these dead bushes and just kind of place them sparsely around the sand. And then on the grass, I have a good amount of bone meal that I'm just going to use like this. I want it to look pretty overgrown down here just because there is so much yellow and white from the sand. And just like that, I think this village area is looking so much better with the overgrown grass along with all of the dead bushes. I would go ahead and put beds inside of every single one of these small buildings, but I don't know where the sheep went. He either died, disappeared, vanished. I don't know. And that means I can't make any more beds. And just like that, we are now on to day 90, leaving me with 10 more days. I have one more structure I want to build. And then I also think it would be cool to maybe put like a beached ship right down here. I just don't know exactly how I'm going to do that because I kind of suck at building ships. So that should be a fun little project that's probably going to take way too many days. So getting straight into this build, since I'm pretty limited on time, I kept the block palette similar to every other building on the island by using oak planks as the walls and then some oak logs for the pillars. And I also decided to give this building a little balcony that's going to overlook where the ship is going to go. It feels wrong that I'm not really putting any interiors inside of most of the buildings we've built on the island, but honestly, I really just don't have enough time. I'd rather wait until maybe if we do another 100 days on this world, then I can go through and do highly detailed interiors. But for now, I'm just going to leave most of them empty. I might be pushing it a little tight here when it comes to the ship that's on the land, but I think rather than doing that, I kind of want to do some sort of dry dock. And maybe I can also put like a crane in that lifts the boats from the dry dock into the water. I'm not exactly sure yet. I'm just going to get to building since, I only have like 5.5 days left. I did end up flooding this entire thing with water. It's just hard to tell because the shaders makes the water pretty transparent. And just like that, I have only 4 days left on this world, and I think I'm going to pass on building the boat because it's probably going to take me the entire 4 days just to build that thing. And I don't have any wool, so I can't really build any sails unless I find another block to use. One thing I couldn't help but notice is that I never put any sort of railing, so I'm going to take a bunch of spruce fences and run them along this entire wall. And I'm now realizing that 64 was probably not even close to enough. So, it was pretty close. Now that the fences are placed in, I couldn't help but notice that I never built an interior on this bigger house. And since it is going to be like our main house on this island, I feel like I should probably build an interior within the first 100 days. Because I don't think just having an enchantment table is qualifying as a built interior. I went ahead and hustled collecting up any blocks I might need to craft the items that I want to put in this interior. Because the main room I want to build is a kitchen. Because I do have cooking with blockheads installed, which is pretty much just the mod that adds a bunch more things for a kitchen, like an oven, a fridge, cabinets, and much more. Now with all these random items, I can sort of build a kitchen on day 97 when I probably should have built this a long time ago because I'm pretty sure a lot of these blocks just kind of like, help you. Anyways, I think right back here will be a perfect spot for the kitchen. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the floor and put in some deep slate. This feels so wrong to remove because I'm gonna have to waste so much wood crafting these again. But honestly, it's in the way and I know a better location to put this thing. I'm gonna put it in this building that we just built because it has a really large interior and there's nothing in here whatsoever. And that right there is perfect. And now I can just build a little storage room inside of here, which looks very messy, but I actually kind of like the way it looks. I really like these updated textures on the chest because it just gives this room a lot more detail. And yeah, I know it's very half, but it's a chest room. Remember, we do only have 2 days left, or more like a day and a half left, and there's still a few more things I want to do around the island. For starters, I want to use some shears to collect up some leaves because I want to build one more field for our carrots and potatoes. I'm gonna put this field right in front of the semi-diagonal building because there was a big open space and it just felt like it needed something there. And here we are on day 99, our final day on this world. The first thing I want to do is finish up this tomato field right here because I never filled it all in. So I just need to harvest a decent amount of these and then plant them back down. Once I had all of the crops placed in, I grabbed some leftover bone meal from earlier and ran around the outside of the island, bone mealing anywhere that seemed like it was a little open. If you've watched me before, you know this is one of my techniques, that if something looks a little bland, just throw some bone meal at it and it's good to go. And here we go, the sun is setting on our final day on this island. I honestly think this world turned out pretty amazing, but let's go ahead and sleep real quick. And there we go, that is 100 days of hardcore Minecraft building the ultimate farming island. I cannot believe how much I was able to get done in this 100 days. And I absolutely love the way that house turned out, along with the tower. And you know what? Just the whole island. We still do have a decent amount more space on the back side of this island that I never really touched, which is right back here and along the side over there. So, as I said earlier, if we can get this video to 5,000 likes, I'll do another 100 days on this world. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's video. And if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you're not already. I will see you guys in the next one.